welcome. El Primera Division. How are you guys feeling today? I'm with Hunger Artist himself and Covito. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
Happy
Just
Juneteenth.
yes, absolutely.
Yes, happy
Feliz Merry Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely, for sure. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I just wanted to get a little bit into the music, get a little bit into who you guys are as individuals, as well as who you are as a group. Now, how long have you guys been working together under El Primera Division? Like, how long have you guys been?
Probably 5 months.
Oh, okay, so it's a relatively new thing, okay. But individually, you guys have been making music for a long time?
We've known each other since
Freshman year.
Freshman year. I was gonna say before that, orientation. Freshman year.
Yeah, we've been doing music. We've been doing music since probably 2000.
Oh wow.
99. I took a lot of time off. Cove was in the Buffalo scene deep. He was in heavy for a long time, and I was kind of out of the loop. So
what made you get back into music and start producing again, making beats?
I was just missing it. I was seeing what he was doing. Yeah. I was checking some other stuff out. I was watching, like Rhythm Roulette. I'm like, damn, I miss doing that shit. So I needed to get back to creating. So, got some equipment, hooked back up with Cove.
Yeah.
We help each other.
Mm-hmm.
So Cove, how long have you been making music on your own? Like you're deep in the Buffalo scene. I feel like I've heard your name around before. I got to do this interview with both of you guys. So how long have you been making music and been on the scene?
I mean, Dan actually really got me into it. That was, like you said, around 2000. We started messing around. I thought I could rap, and it was a rap. You know what I'm saying?
I got the track. I got that track in the zip for the right amount of money.
On my own, like Dan said, he took a little. We've always been tight, but we just had a little bit of a separate journeys for a second. Since like 2004 is when I really started getting involved in the Buffalo hip hop scene with Deep Thinker Records.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of cats that are still around today making music from that Deep Thinker era, but since about 2004, and like Dan said, we linked back up within the last 2 years, and we just decided to really come together under a title and put out a project about 5-6 months ago.
Well, I listened to the entire tape. It's a little bit long. I think it's like 20 tracks or so, right? Yeah. So my favorite so far is Rights. Oh my goodness, I'm forgetting the name of the rest of it, but it's Rights of something, and I'm forgetting the last part.
Rights of Spring?
Yes. Yeah. My favorite. I was going through it, right? And I got to that track and it just kind of like hit me, and I was like, oh, I really like this beat. So do you guys like collab on the beats that are on your album that you released? Are all of those beats collabs, or are they individual beats that you each made and just kind of put together a compilation?
Well, actually, for this first one, because before the group actually came together, the project did. So I approached Cove and I said, yo, we should do like 3 remixes a piece and just do a little project. And he's like, that sounds dope, but we should do 5 a piece. I'm like, that sounds awesome. So, he hooked up the Google Drive. I was doing my remixes. He was doing his remixes. We were uploading them, listening to them, mixing them. And then he came up with the idea of putting little beat interludes in between. Because we're a production team, so we wanted to show off our beat flavors, without just remixes. So that's why the beats are like 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why isn't this longer?
yeah. So we just wanted little beat interludes between. But really the only one we collaborated on was the intro, which is real fresh. Okay. Yeah.
The intro was different as compared to the rest of the songs that I listened to on the album. The intro it strikes you at first because it starts off with that heavy guitar riff.
Yeah.
And then it gets into like the soft kind of mellow beat, and it's like it sets the tone, but it definitely starts you off with like a bang. So you're like, oh, this is kind of different. But then you listen to the rest of it and you're like, oh, it's pretty mellow. Like it's all
Yeah.
really good. Like if you guys did a really good job remixing all the songs that you did, and all the individual interludes show more of like who you guys are, like without having someone on the song, and being able to just listen to the beats that you guys created. I'm like, this sounds like Buffalo, and it sounds very, very chill, very mellow, but it's also upbeat in a sense. So I just
Appreciate it.
want to, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just let it play in the background, at least the interludes, because I like the songs that you guys remixed, but I liked the interludes most because I know that you're producers, like that's what you guys do. So it's nice to be able to just hear the beats that you make without anyone on it. So I could kind of just hear you guys, even though you're
Right.
not on it vocally, but it's you guys, like I can just hear.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
So I just
Mhm.
want to ask, who are some of your inspirations as far as like any producers that you may look up to, or anyone that really inspires the type of beats that you guys create?
Cove can go first on this one.
I mean, growing up, I mean, we're from the era of listening to a long player, a LP.
Mhm.
So I love like the Beat Nuts. You know, the Beat Nuts. Let's see, DJ Muggs, obviously Dr. Dre, Premier, Pete Rock,
Mhm.
Jay Dilla, Alchemist. Man, I mean, the list can go on, man. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I'll leave it right there for me.
I'll keep it short and sweet. My top three are Primo, RZA, and LP, ELP.
Nice. You
Yeah,
guys
for
have
all those guys, all those guys are innovators.
absolutely,
That's what I appreciate.
absolutely. And you guys definitely make beats that sound like they're from Buffalo, because we have a specific, like Buffalo has like its own sound for sure, you know, and we all kind of vibe with mellow music. We all kind of vibe with music that's reminiscent of the 90s rap era, 90s hip hop era. But you guys have a fresh take on what I'm used to hearing. Like I hear a lot more higher pitched sounds, a lot more melody and flute, and a lot more. I feel like you guys aren't afraid to really pull from different genres and really just pull something together that meshes all of your interests into one. So, and I just wanted to ask, how would you describe the beats that you create?
That's tough. That's
Yeah.
tough.
I would say it's like how we eat, you know. It's like, you know, Buffalo is a place that has great cuisine, right?
Absolutely.
And we most of us don't stick to just, you know, roast beef and chicken wings. You know, you got banging ramen. You know, you got banging pho. You know, you can go
Always
get
with the food.
Indian food. All these so it's just like the stuff that we sample, you know, except it's not this palette, it's our oral palette, you know.
Yeah,
If something sounds dope, it just sounds dope.
absolutely.
Yeah, pretty much Cove's got it right on. And if you listen, because we didn't collaborate on every single beat on the album, we did like a remix and then one of our beats, and then someone else's remix, the other guy's remix, and then a beat. And you can there's a definite difference between me and Cove's the way we put stuff together, the equipment we use, which is fresh because it complements, you know, we complement each other so well because we do, you know, different stuff from each other.
Absolutely.
So you could definitely tell the difference.
Yeah, I mean, the beats don't sound the same. Like each interlude doesn't sound the same. Each remix beat doesn't sound the same. So I could tell that you guys do have different, I want to say flavors, but that's not the word that I should use. But I can tell you guys have like different approaches or different flavors when you make the beats that you make. I personally do not know who is who as far as the beats that I've listened to.
Perfect. That's perfect.
So, yeah, so it all just meshes well because if I look at you guys as a group, then I'm expecting a collaborative project. So I'm not going to single out which beat is whose. I'm just going to enjoy the project as a whole. And you guys composed a pretty, how do I say this? Like it's pretty well, like lined up. I don't know how to say this, but like,
That was cool. That was cool.
yeah,
he
like the organization is.
Yeah, he takes
awesome.
pride in arranging stuff. So we
Yeah.
come up with a bunch of tracks, and I was like, this is you. So he listened to all of them a bunch of times and figured out, how to segue into each one.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that, because for me, I make a beat. He sees the project, kind of a full scope.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate someone who takes the time to put an arrangement together, because it makes the project cohesive. And it makes it easier for me as a listener to just flow through with all the sounds within the album. Like by the time I reached the end of the project, I didn't realize that I was at the end. I was like, I didn't know that this was the last track. I thought that it was still going to keep going, because they all just flow right into each other, which is nice.
I feel like everything that you're saying, it was kind of like the goal that I had in mind. We wanted to, first and foremost, we didn't want to just make remixes. We wanted to own them tracks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we were like, yo, we're gonna make. I was gonna curse for a second, but I don't know if I can. But we were gonna make this shit so dope that this joint is ours. You know what I mean? That Joey Badass joint, whatever you see, that's the remix. You know what I'm saying? Like Dan's version is the joint. And we wanted to make it so that you press play and you want to hear the rest without skipping. Like that was, and progress. Start hard, you know what I'm saying? Bring it down a little bit, and then like end on a banging note, you know what I'm saying? And like that was my favorite track that Dan did. And that's those two beats that you hear at the end. He just gave me it, and I was like, no, them joints are the illest ones on the project. They're going at the end.
Yeah.
So everything you're saying was like what I had in mind.
That's what's so dope about having a partner, because we both, we're both good on the beats. I'm being modest, but our beats are dope. But we both have different things that we bring to the game, and Co's honest. So if he thinks something's whack, doesn't sound right, he's gonna tell me, which I appreciate. You know what I mean? It's not just, oh, dope, that's dope, let's put it on. No, we're leaving this one off. We're putting it in this order, and it's nice.
When there's respect, you don't have to ride each other's coattails for the sake of just doing it. You know what I mean? Absolutely. You can be real honest, and I think that's the main thing, is that there's trust and respect. You know what I mean? He does all the engineering and makes everything slap way harder than what I create. I do a lot of the arranging. He does all the engineering.
And it's nice that you guys have a partnership in which you're able to be honest with each other when it comes to the music that you create. Because I feel like a lot of groups don't actually end up being able to stay together, because there's differences in like someone's opinion and someone else's opinion, and people don't know how to just be honest with each other and have a clear way of communicating with each other to create a cohesive project, which you guys mastered, it seems. And this is the first project that you put out. So
thank you.
So it's nice. It's definitely nice to hear. And I do agree. Like I was listening to the songs and I was like, did they get this artist to feature on their beat, or like, is this a song that's already out? So to me, like,
that's perfect.
I couldn't even really put the lyrics back onto the beat that they were actually for. I'm like, no, this is the song now. This is how I'm going to listen to it. Yeah. So I think that you guys did a really good job with every remix that you did. And I feel like you really encompassed what the artist was saying, as well as giving a vibe that's true to yourselves.
The funny thing is, when you said that, there's at least two of those ones I remixed, I'd never even heard the original version. I was just looking up acapellas and I was like, oh, this sounds fresh. And a couple of my remix before even hearing the original, which for me, I didn't get bogged down in like, oh, the original sounds like this. I just did my beat. And it was almost like Joey Badass was, rhyming over a beat.
Yeah, like he was on your beat. I was like, damn, they produced for all these people while I'm listening to the album.
That'd be fresh.
No way, that's crazy. Yeah, thanks for a little bit of insight into your process, because that was the next question I was going to ask. As far as like how you go about making the beats that you make, how you go about arranging the album in the way that you did, what is your sort of process for that? Like what's going on in your mind while you're doing your thing, pretty much?
Well, the first thing was that I don't know if it kind of worked against us or worked in our favor, but the pandemic,
Oh.
you know, we had to figure out a way to do things remotely.
Yeah.
So Google Drive, it was like the
All
third
code.
party
All code.
in our group. I mean, as far as like making a project, I have experience making some albums. And like doing it all in my crib, you know, like from the recording, you know, to producing, arranging, mixing, engineering, even though I'm not really good at that. I had some experience. So when I get ideas or when I get a bunch of tracks, like I don't know, sometimes it comes to me, or sometimes I just need to sit with it. But you know, every little thing in my life just starts kind of coming to me, and you start being able to paint. You know, you get all these colors, and then you can start to paint a picture. You know, you're not going in. You're going in with a blank canvas, but you have the painting already kind of in mind. You know, and the nice thing about it is that it doesn't have to be exactly what you see in your mind, because those changes that happen or that little mistake or whatever, it adds flair and flavor to the project. So it just comes down to having an idea and making sure that the listener has a good experience, and them pressing play and not wanting to skip through the songs. That's really what I have in mind. And not doing the same thing over and over again, you know, trying to be as different as possible. I know we can't reinvent the wheel, but.
Yeah, definitely. But if you're a creative person, you'll definitely be able to make something that's original to the whole entire feeling. Like you can base your beats and base what you make and base how you arrange something off of how you're feeling, how all the sounds come together in your head. You never know. The way that you arrange your album may be different from the way that someone else would have arranged it, which in turn is what makes it original and genuine, because it's you.
Exactly.
Like you put your thought into that and arranged it in a way that you felt would be cohesive for the audience that you're putting this forward for. And you did a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Hunger Artist, what's some of the motivation that you have behind the beats that you make? Like, where do you pull your inspiration from or your motivation from? Or like, what's your real creative process when you make your beats?
It varies. It pretty much varies every time. You know, I might hear, you know, my musical taste is mainly hip hop, but I also listen to anything from Rage Against the Machine to Tori Amos, and you know, anything between old soul and blues and all that stuff. So a lot of times I'll sample stuff and I'll just hear something and I'll just go from there. I just go where it takes me. Or if I'm not sampling something, I might play something on a synthesizer or something and find a cool chord, you know, progression or something. And okay, it needs this, it needs that, and just, you know, kind of add to it like that. So it's not, you know, I'm not writing music, you know what I mean? Okay. I'm building beats from the ground up, you know, wherever it takes me.
And in all honesty, I feel like that process may be a little bit tougher than writing over a beat that's been created. Granted, writing in itself is a tough process. And when people come up with the rhymes and the words that they decide to combine, it's ingenious to me, because like I wouldn't have thought of that combination of words, and I wouldn't have thought that this metaphor would be so hot. Like I wouldn't have done it, you know? So writing in itself is definitely tough, but creating a beat from scratch is even tougher, because you're just going off of maybe one sound that you heard and you're like, I'm gonna build off of this. Or you're like, nah, all of this sounds horrible after a while. After you put something together, do you ever get to the point where you're like, I don't like any of it. I don't like any of it.
Oh, all the time. Most of the time. Most of the time. I'll work on a beat one night and I always have to, like, in the next morning, I turn it on, I'm like, all right, let me check this out. I'm like, oh my God. And I don't delete it though. It stays on the disc, but it's like, what was I thinking? It sounded so dope the night before.
Or you'll send it to me. Or you'll send it
must have been the whiskey or something. Yeah, Cove, save this joint.
Which is why I'm saying that, like, making a beat is a much tougher process, because like you can be in a mode where it sounds good to you today, but then you go back tomorrow and you're like, this is trash. What exactly was I doing? What was I doing? So I don't know. I have tried to make beats on my old little Microsoft, my Fruity Loops back in the day.
Fruity Loops.
And I was like, this process is taking far too long. I don't have the patience to put a beat together. And putting a beat together takes a lot of patience. It could take a lot of time depending on how you work. And I commend everyone that's able to do that and to do it as well as you have both been able to do it, and to arrange a compilation of beats made by both of you that is so cohesive. It's honestly amazing to me. And I hope
Thank
you guys give yourself as much
Appreciate
credit as I'm giving you.
Thank you.
Honestly, because I really have, Cove has been sending me music for a long time, and I always listen to everything he sends me because almost everything he recommends is dope. So I make sure that I listen. So I was excited when I finally got to see something that was both of you guys together. I was like, this is dope. Like, I can't wait to see what's next. So what's next?
Cole could take this one.
We're working towards finishing an audio cookbook flavored project. Yeah, we're working on something like that. In between, you know, things have picked up a little bit with like, you know, Dan engineering for a couple other artists or some other artists hitting us up because of the project. But we are working on an audio cookbook titled Omakase, which is Japanese for "I'll leave it to the chef." It's kind of like a culinary movement over there, you know, where somebody they go into the restaurant and that's what they say, you know, like instead of picking something, it's like, I leave it to the chef, like it's so good. So that's the approach that we're taking on this new project. It's going to be, we're trying to make every track flavored with like you know, if it's something that's like Thai, we're trying to make the beat sound kind of like, you know, Thai.
So you're gonna have different tracks named after different dishes that you enjoy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna go, okay, so I'm loving this idea.
I mean, Mama can't give away all her
the
recipe, you know. I can't give you everything,
no,
but
I'm not.
it's going to be tinged
Absolutely not.
like that, you know. You might hear some of your favorite chefs.
Yeah, Cove is the foodie. I mean, I enjoy food, but he's the foodie. So
yeah,
you know, if it was up to me, my tracks would be like peanut butter toast and like canned tuna or something. You know, I'm a dad. I got chicken nuggets. You know,
yeah.
but he's the foodie, and this was his idea. And when he told me about it, I was like, that's dope. That's dope.
That is
I wasn't sure what he had envisioned, but you know, it's beats. It's hip hop beats. So
yeah.
You know.
So I'm really stoked. I'm very, very much excited to hear that project once you guys are done compiling all your beats. I can't wait to get a version of the cookbook for sure. Because I'm a foodie myself. At least I like to call myself that.
There's some other things in the pipeline too, you know, like I got a lot of not just local Buffalo heavyweights, acapellas, but a couple other outside of the city guys that are starting to become a little bit more well known, and I would like to get around to doing remixes of those guys too.
Awesome.
You know, and then I don't know, there might be some Saturday morning cartoon stuff coming your way hopefully later this year.
Why not?
But that's kind of like what we got on the board as far as projects are concerned, and in between probably solo stuff, you know. I mean,
I was gonna
shit just
say,
popped
like,
in our head.
guys, have you guys seen a lot more people reaching out to you to like for producing and such since you released your joint album? Have you seen a lot more people, or has it reached different people that you probably wouldn't have thought it would reach?
I've definitely gotten some more diverse followers, you know, from it. You know, I'm still looking for, I just want to make good music, whether I'm making beats with Cove or, you know, you know, having an MC over my beats. I just want to make good shit.
So I'd say the same thing, you know. I mean, there's been a little attention. But you know, you can't ride the same wave. You know, waves only last a certain amount of time for a surfer, you know. Absolutely. So you got to be looking for the next one, and you know, we dropped that, we worked it for a little bit, you know.
We ain't hitting no pads on video.
Yeah, we're not definitely not, yeah, that ain't our thing, you know. We're trying to make like everybody's saying art, but I mean, we're really trying to do that, you know. We're not dropping anything without, you know, some sort of like a visual piece to it, or I don't know, if I paint something or design something, throwing into it. So, you know, we're just trying to give a good audio visual experience, and hopefully it'll go along with, you know, a good dish or a good beer or something, you know.
Yeah, most likely, definitely. I mean, I was eating cake while I was listening to it, so it does.
Beats, eats, and art, you know, that's what it's about.
Beats and carbs, that's it.
Beats and carbs. Damn, I think we're gonna use that title instead.
Right?
That might be the intro title.
So as far as individuals, is there anything that you're working on specifically as far as like a solo project, or are you more just working with like different artists and producing beats for other people, or do you guys do like solo projects on your own?
We do. I have a couple, but I'm already. It's weird when you're making beats. You're just trying. Well, at least for me, I want to evolve and try to innovate. So you know, I got a couple beat tapes on Bandcamp, but I'm already like past those. I want to do better. But I'm always, every time I make a beat, I'm like, oh, I should do a beat tape with this thing. I have so many beats.
Yeah.
And, you know, with different kinds of themes and things like that. And, you know, for me, the process of doing it and making music is what makes me happy.
Yeah.
You know, if I can get someone else to listen to it and appreciate it, that's all that matters to me.
Honestly, I feel like if you genuinely fuck with what you put out, people are genuinely going to fuck with what you put out. Like, if it's coming from a place where you really worked hard on it, you felt like you put your best foot forward, people are going to fuck with it because it's going to show in what you're putting forth. You're not going to put forth something that you wouldn't listen to yourself.
Yeah, that's what we hope for.
Yes, yeah. So of course you're going to, I think you guys are definitely going to get a lot more people that are going to be listening to what you put out as collaborative, as El Primera Division, what you put out as El Primera versus what you put out as solo versus what you produce for other people. I think you guys are set.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Doing a great
you know, this is the brand, you know, so like I feel it's all about even if we're doing things individually, it's still a partnership. You know, I'm still hollering at him for engineering and all this, you know what I'm saying? He might holler at me for, you know, here's a beat I did. Can you, you know, do a vid for me or something like that? So everything is always under that brand, but we just might be doing things separate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's like Outkast. Like they did their own solo albums, but they're always going to be.
It's all Dungeon Family. It's always Dungeon Family. So.
And that's the thing. That's the thing, because like I said earlier, we both have our strengths and what we like to do, and we do things differently. But Cove is ill with the artwork. I mean, he posts a ton of stuff on his stories and he does artwork for other people, and you see it, but he's super ill with the video edits and art, which comes super handy.
That's why I was like, are you going to like release some artistic visuals for like certain tracks off of the album?
We were talking about putting all them videos on a VHS tape and trying to get that to circulate, but
why not? People, we're 90s, baby.
We just did a video. It's not off this particular album, but we did a video for a joint I did that I sent to him because he was like, yo, I got some new software. I want to try to freak some new stuff, crack some stuff. So I just sent him a beat for like, you know, whatever. So I finished this beat. And
what was it called?
No, I'm not, listen, I don't name my beats on my drive in a way that's going to like get people's attention. So anyway, moving past what I name my beats, because I'm terrible at it. But anyway, I sent him a beat and he did a video. Yeah, he did a video edit for it, and it was sick because it just blended together so well. Like he has artistic vision in his head. He heard the beat, put it together, and it's flavor. We both put it on IG. You know, you can check it out. I forgot what he titled on IG. It was a way better title than what I titled it. But the title doesn't even matter because the video is fresh.
I
Super.
love videos like that, like where I'm able to listen to a beat and feel the beat through just a visual, but like no people, but just art in the background, and I'm able to like feel the beat in that sense. I feel like it gives it a little bit of a deeper meaning to me, and it helps me see what the artist may have seen or see what someone else may have thought of when they were listening to this beat. I think that's such a cool process because my mind does not work like that. So it's
That's
nice.
how it happened. That's how it happened. I sent him this beat, and he had a vision of what he was thinking of, and he did this video edit. He named it. Let me see. It's I got my IG up right now. Vostek Space Tech. It's like Russian. It was a Russian space program.
Yeah.
Because I named the beat on my disc, not for release. I just named it Space, which is mad corny. Space. But whatever.
Yeah, I called this dude like 20 times, like, yo, bro, what's the deal with this name?
I know. I paid for it. Yeah. He
But
gave
you
me
said along
a
the
whole
same
lot of
lines.
shit for it. So
But you stayed along the same lines. You still use something that was space related. So that's
Right,
cool.
exactly. He had a little, he had a thought for the beat, and I know that he names his stuff, usually it's like a direct like feeling or emotion, like
Yeah.
he
it's
might
very obvious.
anger or mad at my
No.
kids.
I
Mad at
also
my
name
kids,
a lot of my shit. I also name a lot of my shit after literary titles, to be
Sure.
fair.
Oh, dope.
This particular one, whack. But the beat and vid are fresh.
I love beat vids.
I
And since you
recommend-
guys are producers and you put out your own beats, I think that a lot more beat vids would be readily appreciated by people such as myself.
Yeah, I want to do a vid album.
That's what I was gonna say. You guys should do a visual album. That would be dope. Like if you were to put a whole slew of beats together with a bunch of different visuals and post it as like a movie.
Just wait, Chelsea. You might see some street art out there that's got a QR code that might lead to something like that.
You never know. And
You never know. You might see some NFT that's got some code that might lead to something like that. I'm just saying.
You never know, but I'm definitely.
We're just about stimulating. We are sonic stimulators. That's what we are. We're trying to stimulate, whether you're trying to see our vision or whether it stimulates your interpretation. It's just about getting your mind working.
Exactly. Plus, you never know what's going to be inspiring to someone. You may just put something together and your visual may trigger something that gets them motivated to do something that they're doing, whether it's something art related or something music related. You never know. So
Exactly.
It's nice that you guys are able to do it.
All three of us could read the same exact novel and get 3 different messages from it, because you put the art out there and it's to be interpreted by the person consuming it.
Absolutely.
And that's what's so fresh. And that's why me and Cove argue about, who's a better, not between me and him, but like producers out there, who's a better producer, or who's the better MC, or who's popping on underground right now. We have plenty.
Why you like this album? Why I don't like it? You know what I'm saying?
We have plenty.
Who's a better soccer player? What's the better club?
We argue about everything. Put it that way.
But that's a nice relationship to have. You don't have to always agree with each other. You're gonna have different opinions and different visions because you're 2 different people. You operate differently. I mean, hunger artist, you are a dad. I'm sure you are focused and you get to make beats in your spare time, most likely, because being a father is a lot. And Cove is a foodie, and he's able to incorporate his love for food into his beat making and his visual art, and it's wonderful.
And I'm not that focused. I have mad problems focusing. That's why I do, things are just pouring the fuck out of me. You know what I'm saying? It's
But that's why the partnership is good sometimes. So I'm like, yo, get on your shit. Yo, where are the samples for the intro?
Yeah.
Yo, where's the album?
It's been
Where's
2
the album?
days, But then when he sends it to me on Google Drive, the shit is hidden. It's like boom. It's amazing. So it's worth the wait.
You have motivation behind both of you. You motivate him, he motivates you, and we get great projects from it. I'm really excited to see what you guys create next. And I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This was an awesome conversation.
Thank you.
So listen to the album yet again because it's dope.
We're gonna hurry up and finish that cookbook joint.
True.
We can get back on here because we've been working on that for a minute and it's been on the back burner.
And that'll be a dinner date interview. Dinner date interview. We'll all be eating dishes.
Absolutely.
all over
I'm
the place.
excited.
Slow
We could
cooking.
all just have a different dish from the cookbook, like that
Yeah.
we're eating while we discuss the cookbook.
Yes.
That would be dope.
Right.
But thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Enjoy the
Thank
rest
you.
of your night. I look
Have a great
forward to
weekend.
everything else. All right.